You wanna know something that everybody loves? Video game accessories. You know, when you take something like a controller that works, and then you make it stop working.
Tony Hawk is great fun, but you know what I hate? Doing this. We need to make that more fun. Real life skateboard, not only even more fun than that, but also works much better. Thank God we don't need to worry about hitting that one button ever again. I didn't even do that!
The iToy was released in 2003 and is a camera accessory for the PS2 which projects your own self into the TV and finally allows you to stroke Sonic. And letting you touch animals with your dad in the background sitting in a chair wasn't the only thing the iToy could do. It was also made for you to play a handful of exclusive games all based around motion detection, color detection, and even sound detection. Even though Sega had technically come up with this idea 3 years prior with the Dreamcast Dream Eye, that idea went just about as far as the colon, meaning that iToy was the first commercial version of camera-based gesture controls in console video games, which would then get furthered along with the PlayStation 3's PlayStation Eye, which would eventually pave the way for touch-based game control with the PlayStation Finger. This camera was way before Kinect and a good few years before motion control fever hit the mainstream on Nintendo Wii, so why does iToy feel so forgotten? I don't know. This is the same camera that I've had since I was 9 years old when it first came out, and I absolutely loved it back then. In fact, while I was filming my Kinect video a few years ago, in many places I was convinced in my memory that the iToy actually worked better and more consistently than Kinect. But the problem there is, would you trust the memory of a person that whenever they hiccup, there's a 50% chance that they'll do a big shit?
So before we jump into the skid marks, let's take a look at the nice clean pants, such as with this thing here, the PS1 multitap. The PS1 multitap, or if you'd prefer, the multi-branchment, was one of the first accessories released for the PS1 and is a nifty little device to allow you to play 4-player local multiplayer. And that's it, but I always thought this thing looked pretty cool. It could even help you out with your math, but whatever you do, do not directly touch the metal part, or I'll have to get a restraining order. Other than that, though, there's not much to say. It's 4 controller slots that plugs into 1 controller slot. If you drop it on the floor, it'll come back to you, and after the Nintendo 64 came out with 4 controller ports already installed, Sony executives then realised they shat it all up and went, Toy Story Mania! Yay! Now, I'm not completely against the idea of a Toy Story party game that uses motion control. Sounds like it could be quite fun, actually, you know, being inside Andy's room, smacking Bo Peep around for losing her sheep for the millionth time.
Can you find
Okay, alright, we've got a practice mode mini-game to start with, and all we need to do is aim while an unlimited amount of pies are flung at Buzz's obese chin. Nice and easy, I've got this one in the bag. Time to start aiming at targets. Wait, oh dear, no. There's no targets up there.
Now, I'm no expert here, but maybe the Kinect can see my hands when they're there and there. But they can't when they're smushed in together close to my chest. I don't know. I mean, it's just a thought.
And I tried using one hand on its own to see if I could get more accuracy, but nope, the game doesn't even register you aiming at anything if you do that.
Okay, well maybe it wasn't such a good world to start with. How about we try the space world next?
We boot it up and get thrown into another practice mode where we aim an unlimited amount of pies being flung towards...
Are we about to play the same game again?
Yes, we are, you know, because it was just so fun the first time. But guys, it's even better than the last game, because now instead of darts, we're throwing rings. You know what? I think I'm just gonna quit.
Oh, you're not gonna quit, are you?
Yes, I am, Woody, because you're terrible and I hate you. Another adventure mode it is then. Animals and friends. This sounds like a nice bit of variety. We boot it up and get thrown into another practice mode where we aim an unlimited amount...
I'm gonna quit this one too.
Okay, surely there'll be something else to do if I scrap the adventure mode and head straight for the party mode. Lots of different types of fast-paced mini-games, one after the other. What could possibly go wrong?
Blast off!
This is all the game is, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it great?
Toy Story Mania is a game where you stand still and vaguely rotate your body by a few degrees while a cursor doesn't follow where you're pointing at. That's the whole game. The Kinect only has to do one job, and even then, it simply can't do it. And the weird thing, though, is that the menus work absolutely perfectly. I mean, it knows exactly when I'm trying to pause the game by holding one arm down straight and pushing the other one out, but has an absolute fit whenever I bend down just a little bit to avoid a pie in the face. Limbs out of frame? What the hell are you talking about? Better with Kinect sensor? If that's the case, then I'd hate to see this game without it. So to summarize, Toy Story Mania works at its best when you want to quit it, which is all you would want to do with it anyway, meaning it's actually the perfect video game.
Aim for the bullseye!
Oh, come on, Woody, your mouth didn't even say that. It was closer to ooh. And while we're on the topic of Sony messing things up, let's talk about this thing. Now, I know what you're gonna say, but Caddy, that isn't an accessory. It's a rope. Well, no, this is an optional thing that that you used to be able to buy for your PlayStation, and it was for this exact purpose. You could play 2-player multiplayer. Yes, I'm not joking, only about 5 PS1 games in total were compatible with 4-player with this thing, so mostly you were doing this for the sake of 2-player. Probably because they knew that you wouldn't be able to fit 4 people in a room where you set it all up. When the PS1 first launched in 1995, many of its multiplayer games were not compatible with 2 controllers out of the box, so that meant if you were a kid in the mid-90s, you needed to go through all of this effort just to play Wipeout 2097 with little Johnny Toe-Rag. Sony justified this baffling thing by arguing it was like an arcade experience at home, but you weren't in an arcade, you were in Mummy's study.
Next up is a game. This is... I'm gonna look it up. Ketu Zorori. This is 1 out of 3 Japanese exclusive iToy games, and I have absolutely no idea what this is, but I think I might enjoy it. It's got a coconut pig and a seaman cat and a blurry Japanese boy and someone about to tell me how wrong I am. Now, in any other circumstance, I would usually go into immense depth and detail about the history of this game and then critique it through the lens of its mechanics and then impact on the video game industry as a whole. But this one time I'm not going to do that because this game opens up with you sucking farts out of a pig.
What the
It doesn't feel right watching this.
Now, that should be where we stop. But I want to see how this story mode unfolds. However, if there is a story mode within this game and there is a story happening, there's only so much the Duolingo bird can help me, and that's going to make things difficult. But actually, does that matter when the first thing the story asks of you is to suck big ones out of a pig's hole to power a smelly cannon? No, it doesn't. So the next thing you have to do is mess up a bedroom and get tissues everywhere for the splat that's sure to follow. And then follow that up with a game where you draw out Japanese letters on a light board that doesn't know if you're drawing them out accurately or powering an eco-friendly power station, so honestly, who cares? Hey boys and girls, have you ever wanted to conduct an orchestra by drawing squares?
Oh, watch out. Oh, watch out, everybody. The nerd has loaded.
After that, you get a game where you have to try and tickle your dad. And then you get to play a game when you're getting rid of all the pigs snotting all over you by clapping the bubbles. And yes, iToy does recognize when you clap, because I tried to just wave them away and it didn't work. So fair play to you, Senator Bag Cheeks. You may be a disgusting game, but you do know how to program a mechanic where you can only clap on the cat's spit. Then you have a quick game of stealing everyone else's food while slapping them away if they dare come near you. And then this happens.
So what have we got here? Are we a fridge or a mirror?
There's feet.
Wait. Are these changing rooms? Do you want to play a peeping Tom simulator? Look! Oh, well, tough shit for them, I guess. Soap fell on them.
Now, that should be where we stop. But I wanted to give the game one last shot at making some kind of sense. Surely the pajama cat will start doing something regular. And then this happened.
Here comes the policeman.
The policeman! Okay, so we're... No! Are we... Wait. Are we taking the farts to the policeman? Is that what we're doing right now? You know, when you're playing games for a living... You have to reach some limit. There has to be a line that has to be drawn. And I think that line is drawn on a children's game about a hairy pig farting in a policeman's face. That's when you stop.
By the way, how is it that I'm not doing well at this at all, yet the blurry child on the back of the box has no issues at all? Maybe he has a hint. What's he saying? Yawo, easygoing, must...
This is the PS1 mouse, a Walmart special for $14.96 including tax. And honestly, I think that's a bargain. It even comes with a free piece of gum from 1995. Yes, my friends, if you lived in the 90s and were too cheap for a... then this was the best compromise you could deal with to get a PC experience on your TV. Check it out, you even got a really sweet mouse mat. Isn't it supposed to be white? Now, I actually think this is one of the coolest additions to the PS1. At this point, I'd usually make some comment about P, but this thing works perfectly for the few point-and-click games available on the PS1, and it gives you smoother mouse movement than Will Smooth. It even allows you to aim and shoot in a few first-person shooters. The best thing about it, though, undoubtedly, is that it can be used to play irritating stick. This is what made the PS1 mouse fly off the shelves, the chance to turn irritating stick into reasonable stick. Here we are with Disney Pixar's Kinect Rush, a game where you play as a child that ignores everybody that speaks to him.
You wouldn't by any chance want to play cars, would you?
And one day he catches a bus to the Pixar in order to go to all these different Pixar worlds in the park and pretend to be in them.
I love playing Mater. He cracks me up.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. This is the saddest game ever made. All you do is run around a theme park, talk to kids, and then pretend to have fun. What kind of shit theme park is this? Where are the rides? Why is everyone okay with this? Where are your parents? Is this Lord of the Flies? So let's take a step back for a second. You are playing a video game where you're pretending to go to a Pixar theme park, but the game itself is you pretending to go to a Pixar theme park. Don't let that turn you off though, because I actually had a bit of fun with this one.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
In its simplest terms, Pixar Rush is an on-rails platforming game where you travel through multiple Pixar movies and usually means you have to move with your arms like this, but sometimes means you have to move them like you're a drowning dog. There's a few mechanics added in and changed across all the movies to spice things up, and surprisingly enough, not only does this game work really well with reading your running arm motions, leans, and jumps than something like Toy Story Mania, but is also 10 times more fun than that game too, even though it's like 5 smaller games in one package. I didn't like all of it though, like with Up, where the game couldn't really figure out if I was rowing a boat or having a stroke, and on the calibration screen, the game was convinced I had scoliosis, but overall, I'm kind of impressed at how well this all works, and you get a lot of variety for your buck too. Here is an iToy exclusive Ape Escape spin-off, very cool. Monkey Mania. Is that an open mouth, or does he just have really big lips? I don't know what to expect here, but this kid doesn't look like he's having a good time. He looks very concerned. And this girl came dressed up in a BMX helmet. Oh, be careful not to run into objects or people.
Gee, I forgot. Thanks, Monkey Mania.
Now, I love me some Ape Escape, and I know about stuff like Ape Academy and Ape Quest, but somehow I didn't even know this was a thing until just now. So to commemorate this, my name is Beef. I also need an accessory, so I went with an exploding head. And as far as my profile picture... perfect. The game has just started and I have been provided an opponent worthy to rival the gusto of the mighty Beef. I wasn't sure what I was expecting here exactly, but it turns out Monkey Mania is a Mario Party clone. Vomit. So if you've played Mario Party before, you'll know what you'll be getting into. Roll a number, land on a space, deal with whatever the space says, collect items to win, and occasionally compete in minigames to win or lose more items. But now you're doing it all in a urinal. It's just Mario Party, but standing up. Not much more to say here.
He is done with his shit.
Actually, no, there is more. It's Mario Party, but with mini-games that take over a minute to finish instead of seconds, items you can buy as many times as you want in one go, but then also can't use them at the same time as moving along the board. The way you win the game is by having enough monkeys to reach the top, and yet when you reach the space to win the game, it still asks you if you want to go to the winning space to immediately win the game, meaning that you can choose not to win the game, and to top it all off with a bright red infected cherry, the scoring system gives you effort points that don't mean anything, but in fairness, if I was going to the butcher's to buy a slab of beef for 1p, I would put 5 effort in as well.
People.
Even worse, I played a round of this for 23 minutes, and in all of that time, I played 5 mini-games. The rest of the time was exactly what you're looking at right now, for minutes and minutes at a time. It's so boring. Ape Escape and boring go together like unleaded petrol and your liver. I don't even know why this warranted use of the iToy, because not only do barely any mini-games happen that you actually get mileage out of the camera, but also because 70% of the time you're just sat down watching your computer player doing more than you, and every so often a tentacle appears that isn't mine, I promise. Wow, really? I can finally play the Crash and Cone minigame whenever I want, where I drive a badly cut out JPEG that doesn't steer properly? Be still, my beating heart. Here's another thing you could choke on, the Pocket Station. The first ever portable Sony console. Yeah, you thought the PSP was the first? You're thick. And here it is. Isn't it precious? No, it isn't a gravestone for moths. It's a Japanese-only, ultra-tiny game console that triples as a PS1 save game manager and an alarm clock. The most important things you need in your pocket. You can use it as a standard memory card and then look through the save data later on with tiny bit-crushed animated save game icons. You can change the volume Yes, that's a separate feature, but the best thing is when it works with certain PS1 games for extra features and to download minigames directly onto it to play portably, like Block QT, which sounds like a Minecraft babe, but is actually a breakout clone that triples the length of the stage and makes the ball the size of measles. There's also Pocket Moo Moo, a space shooter with absolutely no cows, and Tales of Eternia, a rhythm game mixed with Tamagotchi but with a real woman. And just like in real life, I can never seem to make her happy. Some of these save icons though look like phlegm. Believe it or not, this is Solid Snake. More like deflated hippo. Although, to be fair, this Rupture Farms icon from Oddworld looks pretty damn great. Oh, sorry, it's not Oddworld in Japan, it's Abe a Go-Go. Why is he coming out of his own? Honestly, this version of the game is worth owning alone just for the Japanese Abe voice. Listen to how cute it is.
Hello,
But Abe is just too damn cute. Hey guys, come down and see this. Oh wait. She took the kids. Like I said, this thing was sadly Japanese only and never made it out of its home country. But Sony did at one point have bigger plans for it, since a few Western games do work with it, like Ridge Racer Type 4 and even Final Fantasy VIII. But it really is only a few. You'll find that 98% of all compatible games have to be the Japanese copies. So make sure you dig up your Japanese Metal Gear Solid from Konami the best.
Yeah, they sure are.
And get ready to learn a brand new language from space, otherwise you're better off just... Oh no, scratch that, you don't need to learn Japanese. The Crash 3 manual is English. I mean, don't you remember his famous Ringo bazooka? Up next is the Gunstringer, another early Kinect title for the 360 and one that uses animations from Granny 3D. But I really miss Grandfather 2D! And not to jump the gun here, but this is the most creative use of the Kinect technology I've seen so far in any Kinect game. Not just because of its adorably creative live stage puppet show setting with real human hands controlling all the obstacles and props, but because of how it makes a rail shooter work on something like the Kinect. Basically, your left hand moves the Gunstringer left, right, and you pull it upwards to jump, just like you're holding the string bar of a real puppet, while your right hand acts as your gunning arm for whenever you find Mel B. But obviously, the Kinect can't exactly pick up teeny tiny individual finger motions, meaning that firing your gun while aiming has to be done in a more user-friendly way. So how they got around that here is by allowing you to lock onto a maximum of 6 targets at once for each shot, and then when you're ready, fling your shooting arm back like the recoil of a gun to activate all the bullets that you had locked on with. It isn't perfect, don't get me wrong, especially if your arms accidentally cross over each other while aiming your gun and moving left and right, but it works well enough where I could actually recommend you digging out a copy here. There's multiple types of shooting minigames that are thrown your way, a good sense of humour, a nice mix of platforming as well as shooting. In fact, it's more fun than dropping your kid from a window and making him cry. By the way, I've got a question. Why does that look like an avocado? In conclusion, the Gunstringer is a good time. And it's also very round. Let's kick things off with the first game ever made for the camera, iToy Play. Since this was indeed the first game released to demonstrate this revolutionary tech, it naturally opens up with an instructional video on how to set it up.
The only other things you'll need are a console, a TV,
To get your TV and PS2 hooked up to watch the video you were already watching with your TV and PS2 hooked up, the next thing you need to do is grab your nan's body from under the floorboards and then puppeteer her around the house to smash it all up so you can blame it on her. Then when the room is clear, make sure you're 1.5 to 2 meters away from the TV, in the center of the frame, and not too bright or too dark.
Place the camera in the middle of your TV, either below.
Wow, what a great idea. Hello, young lady.
After this is my favourite part though. To quit out of whatever game you are playing, you don't use the controller. These are controller-free games. So instead, you pretend the camera is from NBC after Chris Hansen catches you.
By the way, you know how the Kinect screams and shats at you when it can't see you? Yeah, well, have you seen how alpha the iToy is?
You can, of course, cheat by moving your whole body close to the camera.
Yeah, not only does it still work, but it works so well that all of the games consider it cheating if you do it. And it doesn't cry at you either. Like a scab. I call children scabs.
And here we are. Why is the default French? So this is it. This is the iToy. And what I'm doing right now? No, I'm not the Queen. This is how you navigate 99% of the iToy library. Waving over buttons. When they said you aren't using a controller at all, they really committed to it.
What's video messaging? Record message for who? Who's gonna see this? So is the idea that, like, I can record a message and then people will like, I can save it to the memory card, and then whoever I sell this memory card to at like a flea market will then find it and see what I've had to say to them from beyond the grave in 100 years.
Greetings, Earthling. I'm Jim. This is a house. I don't know if you still live in a house, but if you still live in a house, this is what they used to look like. And if you do still live in a house, that's lucky, because I know your address. And I have a gun. Honey, what have you got to say?
And yes, I know, this camera image is Vaseline. It's ugly, like egg-fried man, but I mean, yeah, it is. What a good critic you are. Give yourself a pat. You should work for Kotaku. Of course it's ugly. It's just under 240p and being blown up on a TV literally 9 times the pixels it can output. What do you expect from a camera with less megapixels than Ray Charles?
Don't worry though, that messaging system is not all this game is. There are some things that we can play too.
Ooh, who should I be? QT? You can't say that, she's probably a minor. I'm sorry, that's the guy from the Gorillas. That's straight up the guy from the Gorillas, I'm sorry. Vernon Bok.
I like him.
Or there's Q.
Minigame 1, Beat Freak, and I've got some people to beat for the high score. Dex and Meh.
I like banging, I'm gonna do banging. I'm gonna have a bang on my eye toy.
It's a rhythm game. Imagine you're playing the drums on Guitar Hero World Tour, but the drums are missing and you've let all the flies get in. It's standard stuff, but honestly, I'm more taken aback by how well it's registering my hands hitting the beats. I wish I had more to say about it, aside from it reminding me how unfit I am.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Next up is Kung Fu. Spelled like poo. The year is 2000 BC, and the sleeping village has been invaded by a giant Englishman. Your task? To clear out the whole of China from your living room. Not much to say here either. You wave your hands and smack tiny little men around. It's not the most stimulating thing in the world, aside from when you hit enough people and go into wobbly motion, but more importantly, well, my live reactions sum it up better than my script cam.
How is this working so well? Kinect was not this responsive or accurate. Bonus round, break the board. Oh, so you have to hit in the middle, because if you hit the edges... This is so cool. It's actually like... It actually knows that I'm hitting this... I'm super impressed.
So there you go. Not bad, Kung Foot. Also, you remember how the guy said earlier that moving your whole body close to the camera was cheating? Well, I'm not doing that now. I'm just waving more per second than average, but is this considered cheating? Where does the line get drawn between cheating and I can't help it, I'm recovering from a car crash? Next game, Wishy Washy. You wash windows. You wash windows. You wash windows.
Can you imagine if I was cleaning windows and then, like, this was your view? I keep the window dirty. What's that do? I got 250 numbers.
The most surprising thing, though, is how much you actually have to bend over in this window washing game. And now my spine's broken. Whatever will I do? Wow, I am a new man.
Next game, Keep Ups.
Come on, let's have it. How many keep-ups can you do?
I don't know, Gavin. It's some fish and chip bloody arse in it.
Now, the game wants you to position the camera high enough where you can use your head to bounce the ball up, but let's be real, you are not gonna bother tilting the camera up and risk all the motion on screen quitting the game before it even starts, then just having to readjust it all after you're done. So essentially, you have no choice but to squat down and spring load yourself upwards to play it properly. Don't worry though, because as I came to discover, you don't need to use your head. Just use any part of your body, and then whenever the screen goes dark, look at your reflection and wonder to yourself why you can't just find a real ball and go outside. Next game, Boxing Dump. Hold your arms towards your body in a guarding motion to avoid attacks from the opponent robot, and then hold your arms outwards away from your body in a punching motion to create an attack for the opponent robot. I'm not gonna lie, for as accurate as everything has been so far on this camera, this is not perfect, but it's still functional, and honestly, more reliable and better than anything on the HD 2010 Kinect, even though I look like an apron stain.
What are you so sad about?
A bit more practice and you'll be there.
I'm so sorry, I've got to go divorce me wife.
Next game, UFO Juggler. You wave over the UFOs to keep them from falling, but don't wave on them too much or else they'll get overexcited and die. At least this one requires a bit of thought, multitasking, and restraint. If you just stand in front of the camera and move your whole body to cheat, it won't work in this game, so make sure you play it properly and get 0 points. Next game, Slapstream.
Are you ready to play with us?
Madam, I'm a 7-year-old boy.
What is a slap stream, you may ask? Well, let me show you. Next game, Plate Spinner. You spin plates. You know what? I love these game names. Everything today is so complicated. Don't you all yearn for the days of bowling, golf, skiing, eat, sit, shoe?
Okay, so he said welcome. What's he going to say now? Thank you. Thank you for paw shaming me.
Next game, Boogie Downwards. It's a Simon Says game. You look at the pole-legged woman for a bit and then copy her while making sure in between to lurk right behind her in her hair. Whenever you're next on a subway and want to start a Simon Says dance-off with a woman, just do this. It'll go really well. Next game, Ghost Catcher.
Something strange in your neighborhood. Who are you gonna call? The molester.
This game is like Kung Fu, except you're waving at slow-moving targets instead of smacking quick ones. It's making me very sleepy. I'm going to go. Then when you finally had enough, the game tells you got rid of 30,200 ghosts, so well done. Pat yourself on the back. Next game, Mirror Tim 3. My personal favourite in the Mirror Tim series.
Hey, you're looking good. But
You're looking like you have one boob.
Now this is a head-scratcher. What if I told you had to wave in the corners of the screen, but then I cut you in half and flipped you around? I'm confident in saying this is a puzzle game. It actually gave me a headache trying to work it out as quickly as it wants you to. So I stopped working it out and instead tried to make myself throw up. Final game, Rocket Rumble. Look, the chest shelf came back and boy is she having a mare because she bought a load of fireworks that don't explode unless a big hairy man matches them by colour and then hits a spade. A common problem for a person born with one. You have to be very specific with your hand movements here, just like with hitting the center of the boards in Kung Fu, but it's just a little bit slower and I'm going. So that was iToy Play, and I've got to say, for being the first game ever made for brand new camera motion-based tech, it's surprisingly competent. It's not complicated, kind of asinine, but for a 20-year-old tech demo, it's alright. iToy Play also took the chance to give you experimental things next to the minigames as a hint of what was possible and what could be done with the camera tech. You can see yourself underwater.
Hey everyone, I'm Caddicarus. I'm drowning for fun.
You can see yourself as Bubbles.
You can't win the game. I'm everywhere, all at once, all the time, forever, and you never are able to get rid of me, which is a sad lesson of life that all of you need to know with me being on YouTube.
You can see yourself with balloons.
Yay! So if you ever wanted a real birthday and you aren't allowed one at home, you can now do it on PlayStation 2.
You can see yourself in ice.
Has anybody ever wanted to be stuck in a cube of ice?
Yes, me.
You can see yourself materializing.
This is really cool. I dig this. iToy's my new favourite thing. So if I like duck down really quickly, it actually looks like I disappeared.
You can see yourself with sand in different colours.
Okay. Oh, sorry everyone, I dribbled. Oh, I'm still dribbling. Sorry everybody. Life hasn't been the same since Chernobyl.
You can see yourself with spiders.
So these spiders are all in the housing market, and you've got to just try and gather them all up and move them into shared accommodation over by the VW camper over there.
You can see yourself being copied by your own TV.
Oh, so it's delayed. Well, this is cool. Well, how about I go over there? No, it's not cool. It's really boring, actually.
You can see yourself with bees.
This is making me nervous. So what do we do? Oh, it's bees, and that's the game. Bye.
You can see yourself spewing rainbows.
Hello, Doctor.
And you can even see yourself with leaves.
Wow. Mum, I've always wanted to play with leaves for fun. Can you get me the leaf playing video game? You know when people say touch grass? God's sake, go outside and touch leaves. What are we doing? My ultimate favourite one, though, is that you can see yourself having a fit. Actually, I changed my mind. This is my new favourite one. No effect. Well, they didn't lie about that.
Yes, if you didn't think your PS1 already looked enough like a toilet,
Oh shit.
then feast your eyes on this bastard. If you wanted to play 3D games on the go in the late 90s and early 2000s, you got this thing, the PS1 LCD screen. The PS1 little crinkly dentist. I have wanted this thing desperately ever since I was a kid when I first saw an ad for it in the front cover inlay for Stuart Little 2. Sometimes the best things come in little packages. The PS1 LCD screen for men below the national average. Lovely. Now I'm thinking about Stuart Little's Little Stuart. The screen itself comes with built-in speakers, brightness buttons, and even a headphone jack. All you need is a power supply wall socket near you and you're ready to go. As long as you can plug it in and have a PS1 disc and controller, you can use it. You can even play it on the train if you want. I cannot deny that this is probably my favourite PS1 accessory of all time, even for as toilety as it looks. You see, this is where the brown goes, and this is the secret bit. Do you think they animated it under his trousers? This is without a doubt the crown jewel of my PS1 collection so far. See this box? It isn't any ordinary PS1 console box, because inside it is a Yaroze development kit PS1, which is not only able to play any PlayStation game from any region, but is also in matte black. For those who don't know, all the way back in the late 90s, this system was available for sale bundled with a development kit to connect to your computer, allowing the public to create their own PS1 games from scratch just for fun, after which these nutcases would then give their games away for free via PlayStation demo discs in magazines, the ultimate form of unpaid labour. Take notes, EA. The console I personally own does have the original system and box it came in, but none of the software discs, manuals, or coding books, so me making my own game is not going to happen today. Or probably ever, but at the very least I can finally say that I own the piece of hardware that birthed the greatest death sound of all time. That was done with this. Surprisingly though, there's tons of rules for it. Just look at this. Don't use a mining drill on it, don't set it on fire, and while you're at it, don't touch it. But that's not all. Don't plug it in, don't feed it, don't paint it, don't plug it in, don't put games in it, don't boil a kettle on it, don't slap it while a window's open, don't use it in an earthquake, don't sleep on it, don't use it as a shoe, and whatever you do, don't listen to music. Just in general. You'll die. In fact, the only rule here that doesn't have a giant no next to it is a picture of a baby reaching for it, so make sure you teach your kids to climb up and grab it.
It's a Kinect.
The penguins of Madagascar in Dr. Blowhole returns again. With his blowhole. This here, my lumpies and germs, is the first Kinect game I've ever played, which was not only the best introduction I think I could have ever wished for, but also means I'm now opening myself up to every other flawless Kinect adventure at some point in the near future. Pray for me.
Oh, bugger.
Okay, well, as far as first impressions go, this thing isn't too bad. It looks kind of cool at least. It works fine on the main dashboard for the Xbox 360, and check this out. I'm a video game now, but then I played this game. And the fun stopped. Here is what happened. Please enjoy.
Hello everybody, I am popping my Kinect cherry. I don't know what to expect, I don't know what's gonna happen. The camera is freaking me out a little bit.
Now, why don't you tell me your name?
Oh, okay, we're leaning. We're leaning for the ice cream. Okay, right, let's go. Leaning. I jumped! It did a jump, I'm amazed.
There's a chameleon right here.
If there's a chameleon right there, it's not a very good chameleon, is it? This is insipid. This is so boring. I can see why this is a kid's game, because if anybody over the age of 30 tries to do this, they will end up on the floor with major back pain. Now what am I doing? Yeah, perfect, bitch! I lifted my hands up. Can't see you doing that. Oh, he's doing a flap. Flappy flap. Whoa, okay, we're changing characters now. Now we're completely lost tracking. It now thinks I'm leaning left and I'm not. Oh no, why? Why is that an oh no? Do you want me to bend over backwards and stick my head through my legs? I can do that if you want me to, game. Why did I get it wrong the last time? I thought that said terrible for a second and I would have agreed with it. Okay, go to the pigeon, throw. Go to the pigeon, throw. Go to the pigeon. We're playing a Kinect game for children and I'm now being asked trivia questions about wildlife. This is exactly what I wanted. Not only did I want to stand up from the sofa and not hold a controller, but I wanted to go to school. Furry monster? I don't know. Little man? Oh, come on, I can't get this completely wrong. Cute? Because they are cute.
That is incorrect.
You're incorrect! I think even more importantly, why does a quiz require bodily movement? Why do I need to use my feet? Like, God damn it, I'm already losing my bearings on where I am anyway. That picture? That sums up everything. That sums up my feelings. It sums up this game. It sums up the Kinect. That is as raw and as natural as a reaction as you're going to get, because I didn't know they were taking a picture. Yeah, I think we can pretty much end it there, don't you think?
Kinect Joy Ride. Sadly though, Kinect Joy Ride is another one of those games that I just can't say that much about. Not because it's bad or anything, but just because it exists and it works, so I can't even joke about how terrible the Kinect is here. You pretend to hold a steering wheel, twist it to turn left and right, lean left and right for drifts, pull the wheel back and push forward for a speed boost, and tilt your body up, down and all around while in midair to try out some tricks. But it all works pretty damn well, so to be honest, like, what can I say? Do you want a racing game with no controller? Then what's wrong with you? I mean, then you should get Kinect Joy Ride. For a game about racing built entirely around body motion, it's a nice little distraction that does its job well enough. And more importantly, it's legal.
iToy Anti-Grab, the only game I can think of where it advertises itself by showing a boy with no head jumping over his TV with his jeans falling down and his boxers hanging out. This game was made by Harmonix, the same people behind the original Guitar Hero and Rock Band. That's odd. But more importantly, what even is this bit here? What is that in your pants, man? Why are you keeping a white rose in your trousers? Well, first things first, this intro goes hard. I am digging this style, and then after a super quick head calibration test, we turn into fog and then we get to pick our character, who all have great things to say, like,
I get my kicks busting tricks like a lunatic.
And there's even a cameo from Tetsuo the Iron Man. Don't let him touch you though, you'll get rusty. But ultimately, I went with this guy, whose name is Compound. Compound the Man. Why is he called Compound? It's like having a baby and naming him Car Park. And as you could probably guess from the cover, iToy Anti-Grab is a hoverboard game that requires your whole body to make it work. Would you believe it though when I say that iToy Anti-Grab, a game that's 6 years older than Sonic Riders, on a console 32 times less powerful than the Xbox 360, using a motion capture device half the resolution and lacking the infrared technology of Kinect, works infinitely better than it? Because it does. All of the ducking, all of the jumping, all of the leaning, all of the arm reaching out at multiple levels while standing or bending down, all of the arm movements needed for air tricks, all of the steering and slowing down, all of the flying with your arms held out like a dying Christ. Everything you see here not only works well, but is also reliable. The only thing I couldn't get working was how sensitive the name enter screen was, so I guess CAC will have to do. But bigger picture, look everyone, I managed to win a race. Twice. I even got a high score on the combo trick race, and I couldn't even do one trick in Tony Hawk Ride, which had no camera at all. Caddicarus.
Honestly, this game is good. I'm speechless.
This is a device to connect a 90s cell phone to your PS1 with a software disc. Hello? Is that PlayStation? The best way I can describe this ridiculous thing is that if you owned a Japanese cell phone that was compatible with DoCoMo's iMode, you could wire your brick into your PS1 and basically unlock it as a retro smartphone. Think of it like an external display. You could do all of your contact and office organizing, transfer data and games to your phone, and even use your phone's network provider to browse the internet on your TV. Hello? Oh. The baby didn't make it. You heard it right here, folks. 1 second you could be on your PS1 playing Sesame Street Sports, and then the next you could plug in your phone and mash one out. Have a look at this Mayan artifact. Motorola graphite. They aren't even pretending it doesn't look like a slab of concrete. You know what though? I do miss the days when bad phone signal meant grow more phone. And this thing is so old the battery turned into sawdust.
So here we have a quaint little game called Ooh Move, which is what old ladies say to me when I sit next to them on the bus. And you can tell from the box that we're in for a rip-roaring good time because the lady in the TV is out of focus. First off, we have the art studio for all the miscellaneous trash that doesn't fit the theme of sports. We have blurred slow motion.
Welcome to my stand-up. I have a joke for you. Get ready. Sew your pants, because they'll leak. What happened to me when this morning I missed the bus? I missed the...
We have Defrosty.
Oh no, nobody can see me. What am I gonna do? Oh, I know. Make it see me. And lag.
We have Sand.
So apparently this is what we're calling sand. Sand is more or less exactly like, I'm gonna distort my voice and talk to you about my horrible traumatic experience dealing with a former children's TV presenter. At this point, I could like roll my sleeve up.
We have Party Time.
Are you okay? You are not okay. When was the last time anyone went to a party like this? Stop looking at me. I don't know what you think I can do for you, but I can't do that. This is borderline analog horror. I feel as though something's gonna come from the dark behind me. Stop it. What? Do I dance? Oh, you do!
We have Kaleidoscope.
And here we see the plumage of the blossoming Gimus cadus. That part is where the seeds are sown. Oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
We have Lawnmower.
Oh, shall I mow the whole lawn and see what happens? I'm gonna see what happens if I mow the whole lawn. I'm not mowing the lawn anymore.
And we even have this.
Bouncing baby. I've always wanted to bounce one of them. False advertising. I wanted to smack a baby.
But we don't care about any of that. We want to move. Okay, well, I don't want to move, but we want sports. Well, no, I don't want sports either. No, I don't want any of this.
First off, we have Perfect Goalie. Only one problem, though. Just like William Shakespeare, it doesn't work. I don't know, maybe we finally reached the point where it's nothing to do with how good the camera itself is, but how the devs are able to make it work. I should have been able to save at least half of these goals, but it just didn't work properly. How can you go from accurate angle wood chopping and spit bubble clapping to your entire body not being able to block a ball? I know, maybe it's because the game is too quick, so how about we slow it down with ball-tossing aliens? Up next is Yellow Card.
Watch out for those yellow cards. Wave your hands over the referee's hands to persuade him not to penalise you. You know how in real football that the referee gets somebody's card out and then they just give him a little tickle and then the card goes away?
You'd think this would be more engaging than just wave over one person at a time and wait until you're able to wave at somebody else, but nope, that's honestly all that you do. It's mind-numbing, but you gotta keep going. Could you live with yourself if your high score was lower than fudge?
Honest to God, what is going on with your head? I swear someone dropped this on London during the Blitz.
Space Breakout. You're bouncing a football and playing Breakout. What more does a growing boy need? Not really much to say here. It's fine. So we'll move on to the next game, which is called Dribbling. Yes! It's another slug game where you move a ball left and right between cones very slowly. You know, for a game that's telling me you move, it sure is spending a lot of its time telling me you stand still. Look at me. Look at me. This is the face of someone alert and ready for another iToy football game. Except he isn't, because I'm gonna skip the rest of them and see what else there is to do.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sorry about that. What you'll find with a lot of the iToy library is that they're just minigame compilations that are all variations of the exact same idea.
I'm not doing the same thing over and over again. I'd rather play Batting Frenzy. Or Rugby Clash that tells you to run, block and throw but doesn't work properly. Or Horse Racing that's spelled wrong because maybe the name of the horse is Horsey and lets you ride the back of a horse while spanking it and looking at the cured prosciutto ham coming out of its mouth. Or Hole in One that isn't golf at all and is just pushing everything away from a ball that's been hit by someone else with a snowman on his head, and that ends with a high score photo being taken of you while you weren't expecting it. Happy birthday.
So here I am in the main Xbox 360 dashboard menu. Say hello. Oh, look at that. It actually, you know what? I'm going to give Xbox credit here. This works surprisingly well. It knows exactly where my body is. You'll need a controller. Why? I'm using Kinect. Isn't the whole point that I don't need a controller? Anyway, as I was saying, it knows where my body is, it knows which hand I'm pointing towards the screen and which direction they're being pointed in. It's incredibly responsive. It knows when I'm swiping and in what direction I'm swiping in. Like, there's no... Okay, that went wrong, but overall it's surprisingly good, you know, it works. So, let's try out the best game to demonstrate the power of this thing, Raving Rabbids.
Yes, what game couldn't be better at showing off what the Kinect can do other than
Raving Rabbids. Don't know what these things are? Then I want to open your head and live inside you, warm and happy, not knowing anything about them either. Rabbids are coming to life. Everybody run. I've got a question for you. Who doesn't love the Rabbids? I don't even think kids like them, which is very lucky because this game begins with you needing to smack one upside the head in order to start it. We then see a cutscene where a man is on the phone, talking with a goose, and then he suddenly throws his phone in the bin, which falls down a series of tubes and alongside a rabbit in an acid bath, the only place where it belongs. Then another one comes in and eats the phone, and then another one looks at a screen, and another one gets stuck in a door. Is this funny? Am I supposed to be laughing? Because I'm not laughing, I'm skipping. Off to the main menu, and I got an achievement.
But you don't get an achievement for putting your hands up! You get shot!
Now, I don't think I should mess with any options here that require more than one player, so I'll stick with quick play for now. After a loading screen, we end up on a game where we need to suck up all of the spaghetti sauce, meaning that we need to lean our head left and right to catch it all, and that's it.
Oh. Okay then.
I didn't even manage to do it that well. Nice try. Here, have some toilet paper. Oh, and while you're here, have a picture of you standing wonky. Oh. After this is another loading screen, and we're thrown into another game. Raise our hand to choose an answer. We have to count the fake moving sheep, pick the correct answer, and that's it. After this, we're thrown into another game. Spin a pickle jar lid as fast as possible, and that's it.
So that's all this is? A load of 10-second minigames back to back with no point?
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't like that.
Not even kidding, that is all this game is. Slowly moving from one tiny minigame to the next while being shown pictures of how much fun you're having. It's like if WarioWare let you play one game per minute. In fact, you are in loading screens for more time than actually playing the games that are loading. And after all the waiting, you're rewarded with a game that tells you that Rabbids like shoving Barbies up their holes. Oh, what's that? You've got another picture for me? Great. Perfect. I look like a lamp. I mean, I can't say that the game doesn't work, because it does, but there's absolutely no reason to bother playing it if you're alone. It's just one tiny minigame after the other with no rhyme or reason. It's kind of sad, actually. Which is why they included a minigame that lets you play with your very own rabbit to pretend that you have a friend.
Hey. What's the point of this game? What am I doing? Oh, Jesus. Why is it not working? Why are you half a bunny? Okay, doesn't matter, he's gone. Oh no, okay. He's now the sofa. I'm going to sit on him. Oh, he liked that. Now he's leaving. So, this is a great mode, everybody. This is why you want to Kinect, so that you can have a fake... I didn't mean to do that, but I'm glad it happened. So I can kick the thing, that's good to know. I can't kick the thing, that's good to know. Say, what do you want to be when you grow up? An astronaut? Great! A little slap will surely make him change his mind. Change his mind about what? Women's rights? Ah, that's fun. Ah, that's fun. This is shit.
What you're looking at here is the Go 2 Premium Pack, a Japanese-only PS1 bundle pack with two things, a train simulator game and a train deck controller that was made only for this single game and nothing else.
Choo-choo, Thomas.
This thing is absolutely adorable. I can't hate it. It's like a real tiny train for real tiny Tom Cruises. It even has a tiny drink holder for your tiny Mountain Dew. Well, this is the single most seductive train simulator I've ever played. Look at the high energy, the passion, the craft of the editing. So here we are at the main menu. Now, the menu is navigated by you pushing and pulling this little mushroom while the horn buttons confirm and go back. And to be honest, I'm terrified by whatever the material hall of train is, so let's keep things simple in arcade mode. Okay, so now we have our objective. Drive a train. Thanks for the hints. I can't read them. And with that, we unlock the brakes with this thing here, pull this thing back to give it gas, and oh my god, we're a train! And you know the best thing? That's all you need to know. It's really that simple. You move this to the right whenever you want to tighten the brakes, and pull this back whenever you want to... So even though I don't know what this is or what that is, it doesn't matter because I know the speed limit, I know how much time I have left, and I know how far away I am from my next checkpoint. Oh no, I'm running out of time. Oh god, come on, come on, come on. I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, come on, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it! You're welcome. Oh damn it, I failed. Fine, I'll continue. Huh? Game over? I lost the whole game because I wanted to keep going? Oh, what's that? I got a high score? That's nice of you. What's my name? Soil. And this is all very well and good. But can you play Crash Bash with it? We boot up the game and unfortunately we can't move the cursor, but I can select whatever option is already highlighted, meaning I can actually boot up single player no problem. And this was all gearing up to be a massive disappointment until we got to the warp room, at which point all hell broke loose. Your eyes don't deceive you. I am perpetually running in place without actually moving anywhere as a monkey with a crocodile tail and a blowhole for a face. In fact, I can't do anything other than run left, run right, and run towards the camera. I can't go forward at all. And because I can't go forward, I can't pick any levels. But at least I can do a damn good running, man. Okay, so maybe this controller only works with left and right movements, so why don't we try a racing game like Roll Cage? Well, for some reason, whenever the game starts up with the train controller plugged in, it boots up in French. It must be because it reminds it of the Eurostar. As you can see, it is absolutely unplayable chaos, which is a massive shame because now I have to quit la course when I really want to continue it.
The French.
But now we have to ask a real question. Can you drive Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver with a train?
Here is the game. As you can see, we've left the station, and the weird thing is that every single position on the train does something slightly different. I don't think I can get out of this... Oh, I don't want to get out of this room anymore. This is a great time. Yeah, go on, fit off.
Well, I mean, you've got more movement than Crash Bash. And much like Roll Cage, every single notch on both sticks does a completely different combination of things. Do you want to move forward while keeping the camera rotating? Do you want to crawl while shifting back and forth? Do you want to jump around in a stupid circle like some sort of Maytime fertility ritual? Then there's a gear stick position for you. If you ever wanted to feel like a tiny man trying to pilot somebody's brain while they have a blood clot, then this is the game for you. But what about a 2D platformer like the original Gex? Sadly, that doesn't work whatsoever. But do you know what does? Rival schools.
Apparently I'm picking them.
Well, these kids must love school so much they can't stop themselves jumping 30 feet in the air every 2 seconds. Whoa, slow down, old horse. And aside from the non-stop jumping, I could only figure out how to move left and right with one end of the controller and grab or kick with the other end. Amazingly though, I'm somehow winning.
And that was the train controller.
Here we have SpongeBob SquarePants Move In with Friends. Well, if you do that, make sure you all take turns cleaning the dishes and that you all pay your fair share of the bills. I hate myself. Rotate the manual focus ring until the image is sharp. Oh yeah. Sharp as a wooden spoon. For this adventure, I am Moltingy, and unlike every real-life human baby, you get to pick your colour.
Orange splatter, iron cyan, chocolate, delta blues, mellow yellow, red alert, in the pink.
Oh dear.
And yes, I know I said it was an adventure, but no, it isn't. It's more minigames back-to-back from various Nickelodeon shows. But that's not an issue. I'm privy to the occasional Nickload on me. So let's kick it off with SpongeBob games, starting with bowling, which feels completely impossible to get a strike on. And I don't appreciate Patrick's trapdoor mouth or SpongeBob looking at me like he wants to take me backwards. After that, you get a matching game, which is honestly impossible because how are you supposed to pick one ingredient at a time and then move to another ingredient without the rest of your body activating another ingredient? I don't know, and I would ask SpongeBob, but he's a bit too busy reliving his time in the IRA. But then there's this driving game, and this is good shit. You hit the left and right side of the car to change lanes, collect bubbles, and avoid drain covers. It's like playing Subway Surfers or Temple Run on your phone, but much more fun. And all it takes is a PS2 console, SpongeBob on PS2, an iToy camera, decent lighting, and a 50-kilo box. I even got a high score in this one, and I will cherish that memory forever. We've also got another good one next with jellyfishing, even though all you have to do is hit jellyfish and try to stop hitting Squidward because you don't need to go through the effort. He'll end himself with a shotgun in a few years. It's a really fun time, but when I say it's quick, I do mean it. You've only got 61.9 seconds to do it. But that is enough of Patrick and Sponge Robert. What about his friends he's moving with? Well, they don't get anywhere near as much of the same attention as he does, both for the amount of minigames and for what they even are. It's just picture panel swapping, extended arm flying through rings, Jimmy Neutron massive head juggling, hockey puck goalkeeping while giving up on life and realizing what an embarrassment you are, waving on cracks in a fish tank, this absolute dog shit submarine game that's supposed to let you control the depth but just doesn't work, and a game of Snake but with magnets on the edge of the arena pulling Daniel Fant towards the pickups. The only thing worth mentioning that stands out is this Billy Hatcher Katamari-esque Fairly Odd Parents arcade game that's really fast-paced and controls really well, and this Danny Phantom ghost-busting game where you have to time left and right long-range blast to hit the ghosts, almost like Hungry Hungry Hippos, but people jumped into the enclosure, and at that point you might as well say goodbye to little Billy because his head won't belong to him anymore. As a whole though, this is a really odd game. It's really hard to have a solid feeling on something when 1 second you're having a blast and then immediately afterwards the menu won't stop scrolling left and all you can do is watch in horror. This game is like, the half of it works perfectly and is really fun, and the other half fell asleep. SpongeBob on PS2 is a stroke.
I mean, take a look at this thing even. Yeah, it's a Resident Evil gamepad, made specifically and only for Resident Evil games. The run button is right next to the ready weapon button. Firing your weapon is a separate trigger on the back, with that half of the controller being shaped like a handgun. Your map and inventory have separate buttons each, and it even has a turbo mode in case you want to do this.
You know what? Maybe I'm just not fit enough. Which is a good thing. Because I've got Get Fit with Mel B.
Yeah! Jump up, boys and girls. It's time to get fit with Mel B. For those of you who don't know who she is, Mel B used to be a singer with the Spice Girls, but now she's in a Kinect game where she shouts at you for being fat. You know what though? Why not? Kinect Sports in particular made me realize that I'm not exactly in the best shape to be dealing with something like the Kinect. So it's a good thing that I've got Get Fit with Mel B to help me out. And I do feel good about this because whoever had the game before me burned a little bit of fat on the side of the case. So what are we waiting for, lads? Let's strap on our sports shoes and spit in a bucket. Time to get the disc out then. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's there. You win this round, Mel. But
When were you born?
I'm tired already. Can we take a break?
there we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Caddicarus. I'm male. I was born on the 19th of June, 1994. I'm 5'10", and I live on a luxury yacht. However, little did I know that when I put in the disc of Get Fit with Melb, that I would be greeted with one of the most uncanny and disturbing games I've played in recent memory. The workout began. Melon looked me dead in the eye. She said,
Put your right hand up now to start.
and then the floodgates were opened. This is what happened when I played Get Fit with Mel B.
No! Oh my god, she's cut my feet off! Mel, what have you done to me? It's my good friend, everybody, Mel B, on my luxury yacht. Mel, you changed clothes. We're in the middle of the sea. Where's the wardrobe?
Having problems?
I'm having major problems, Mel, because you've served me up on a chopping board. Am I going to be put into a steak?
Bend over and uppercut.
There you go. I'm now properly on your chopping board. It's Caddy Spit Roast. Hey Mel, do you find it a little bit funny how we're in the middle of a desert and I look a lot like Jesus? If it wants my feet in the game, then I had to be standing on top of the sofa, which means I've got to be here. I told you about barging into people's yachts and forcing them to exercise! I'm meditating! I'm floating! Mel, are you not impressed? Yeah, I disappeared. Mel, where have I gone? Hey Mel, have you met my dog? He's a big fan of the Spice Girls, and he likes it when his butt gets itched on your luxury yacht. Well, I think it's safe to say...
And you know what? I honestly don't know why Mel B was needed for any of this. It didn't feel like her game at all. It could have been anybody standing there.
Mel, you never told me your luxury yacht had a hidden compartment.
The Michael Jackson game, though, that would be his game. You can't replace MJ in that.
Don't think I need to explain this, but Get Fit with Mel B isn't very good.
Sega Superstars, a game that I played all the time and loved to pieces as a kid, but also the only game that ever pissed me off so much I ripped its film off. Now, the absolute first thing to mention beyond anything else so far about Sega Superstars is that it has a very funny confirmation noise. That, and based on the intro alone, this is the most amount of effort put into any one of these games so far, if for no other reason than it actually gives you another original Choo Choo Rocket, Billy Hatcher, and Nights into Dreams game. that you control like there's a pole stuck up in you, just like it's right up in you. But that's not all. Sega Superstars kind of goes out of its way to translate their own series into motion-controlled camera filming a real person minigames. And even if they are just the same ideas all over again, like Samba de Amigo being yet another iToy groove, they managed to fill every inch of the screen with way more personality, color, and just general stuff than any of the other games so far. You and your ditchwater living room aren't the focal point anymore, you're just part of the game worlds now. Maybe aside from Virtua Fighter, when Akira just bursts into your house to steal your cushions, but don't worry. Shh, I'll take care of you. We can get you some new furnishings at Dunelm. I am legit impressed by the production values here, and all the games work great too. What possessed 10-year-old me to tear this game's skin off? Was it Super Monkey Ball? It was probably Super Monkey Ball. But saying that, it's not even that hard. I managed to get through it all, no problem. I even got a high score, which I've never done on Monkey Ball before. The Space Channel 5 game is great for being a copying memory game and rhythm game at the same time, and for finishing off each round by putting you right bang dot in between her legs. Why did they do this? Why is this even possible? There isn't anything to see anyway, because somebody went under her skirt and put polyfiller in it. Then there's Choo Choo Rocket, of course, for multitasking timing-based puzzling, Virtua Striker for being just a really responsive and fun way to head a ball into score balloons, Puyo Pop Fever for being the most accurate object interaction minigame I think I've ever seen from a 240p 2003 webcam, and just, I mean, look at how smooth and quick Knights is to control around. Kinect, what is your excuse? More like Kid Not. Sega Superstars is even made well enough where I was comfortably able to get a high score on nearly every minigame, aside from Crazy Taxi. A massive congratulations to Ool, Bink, Gust, Ache, Drink, Oi Mate, Dable, Fair, Woman, at Tag Damp, and of course, the man who was named in honor of what Billy Hatcher is all about, Fetus. Wait a minute, this game's 3+, and yet somehow they managed to get zombie violence past the censors. That's hardcore. Sega, you are a company. A publishing company, in fact, that started all the way back in 1940 when they were known as Standard Games, providing coin-operated games for military bases in Hawaii. After that, in 1952, they moved to Japan, and then a lot of other stuff happened, and then they made Sega Superstars, and on top of all the quirky, unique, cool shit this game does do, it isn't all for the sake of high scores and nothing else. It's so that you can earn rings and then use those rings to buy stuff for your pet chow. Yeah, I know this is a Sonic Adventure thing, it's not mind-blowing or anything, but do you get to tickle your chow yourself, or pet your chow yourself, or go and see a dodgy blind man to spend $10,000 on a tree in the black market yourself? No, you don't, but you do here in this game. And is it all worth it to watch your chow eat shrinking cake and then spend $5,000 on a trumpet that only gives you a percentage of a chance that he'll ever pick it up and toot off? Yes. Yes, it is. I spent over an hour on this game and I genuinely enjoyed nearly every single moment of it. I mean, take a step back and that's a really dumb thing to say. Yeah, man, this game is so fun, you want to play it for at least an hour, but for something as physically demanding as this, yeah, that's an accomplishment. Thing is, though, it is still just wiggling your turkey wings at a load of shapes while Sega characters shout at you. I'm not sure I'd go as far as to say it's your new favorite game of all time. Oh yeah, PSW? That's a hot take. Is that why you went bankrupt? Even in the world of something as simple and innocuous as the PS1 memory card. Yeah. Even these tiny little things can be screwed up.
These were some of the best things about the PS1. You saved your game to these, and not the physical games themselves like with most of the Nintendo library. If you needed to replace your game disc for whatever reason, the memory card was always going to be there to catch you. Got your basic grey official ones, but for a lot of people they were a little too expensive-wency, so instead you got yourself a third-party one, usually from a video game store with its branding spat all over it, but sometimes with cool little extra benefits like digital displays to let you know how many memory blocks you had left on that card, or extra info printed on the back, like how many megabytes it is. which doesn't help you in any single way even slightly. And then you have the ones where you're sitting there and you say to yourself, oh boy, I really like this plastic shell that saves my games, but I really wish it had more driver on it. And then boom! Well, there you go. Wish granted. Check out this disgraceful turd. This was officially licensed by the makers of the game, by the way. It's one thing adding a monocle on top of a thing that does absolutely nothing, but they went the extra step to assure that the bloody logo is upside down whenever you use it. Gee, thanks mum, I always wanted to play that game, Benibd. Well, thankfully, if you don't like Driver 1, or you don't want your memory card looking like an Egyptian hieroglyphic slab, you can have a Driver 2 memory card instead. Much better. Simple, sophisticated, the right way up, and surprisingly curvy. Why does this memory card have childbearing hip? The Tomb Raider 3 character memory card that is literally just the top half of Lara Croft surgically fused onto a bit of plastic. The attention to detail of which is so accurate, they made extra sure to put holes where they would be in real life, although there are 3 here, so I guess she had a bad tear. Special serial numbered collector's edition. Wow, sounds rare. I'd better make sure to be extra careful when I remove it. I mean, if you want to talk about unnecessary, this is probably where the definition of the word came from. Sure, it's a functional PS1 memory card, but that's all there is to it. You can't use it as an action figure. She's upside down while you're using it. Her waistline doesn't fit on the plastic. Her entire back half doesn't exist. I mean, I've definitely heard of being flat-chested, but how about being flat-backed? And I'm sorry, but I still can't get over the fact that my memory card has a rack. I suppose you could argue at least they focused on the right end, but just let that sink in for a second. This is the only thing in the world that saves your PS1 games and has breets. This is a PS1 computer floppy disk adapter for your memory card slot. Perfect for storing your school bag in. This is an exceedingly rare piece of tech from the 90s, and at the time I'm sure it was useful since floppy disks were so much cheaper than memory cards, but nowadays, because it's so rare, I forked out $450 for it. $450 so that you can save your copy of Anna Kournikova's Smash Court Tennis on your dad's old naked picture drive. So yeah, if you want to play your old PS1 games and save your data, do not get these. They're too rare, too expensive, no one even uses floppy disks anymore, and to sum it up in one word, screw off. Instead, I decided to go for Sesame Street TV on the Kinect, because it actually does something really unique with the technology. It teaches you how to stop using your binky. Since this is indeed for toddlers, you aren't expected to actually do anything that taxing. So instead, you're simply given a collection of Sesame Street episodes in HD, all full length, and all tailored around you by using the camera. You become a part of your very own Sesame Street episode. And sure, you can't change what happens in the episode or anything, but you are taken along for the ride every step of the way. So if you're a kid who loves Sesame Street, or an adult baby in a diaper, what the f am I looking at? Then this is the game for you.
Ooh, you know, I think I hear a dog barking.
Are you sure that wasn't your wife?
This wasn't the game for me. So everybody, this is what happened when I took a stroll into Sesame Street.
Here we go. We're in Elmo's world! And it's horrible! Oh god. Welcome to Elmo's seizure! What happens if I leave?
Sesame Street was brought to you today by the letter of the day, V.
V for vasectomy!
When you're playing your PS1, do you ever find that you're struggling so much on Chicken Run that you get so mad and it's enough for you to do this?
Yeah.
Well then, get therapy. And then buy yourself the Namco NeGcon. Yes, it's called the NeGcon. NeGcon, NeGcon. I don't know, I don't care. I'm calling it the NeGcon. And if you don't like that and try to correct me, then I know you're somebody I don't want to hang out with. Check this out. Yes, the NeGcon allows you to twist your controller. My favorite pastime next to beat the dog up. And to give credit, it does feel surprisingly natural. But these buttons here do not. These top buttons here are just regular controller buttons, but these ones here are like 8 times the height of those buttons, and whenever you want them to work, you've got to push them all the way in, like your gut after a roast. It really does feel horrible, and I mean, just no R2, no L2, no select button. This thing is a freak of nature, like a really ugly baby. And just like any good ugly baby, I don't want to kill it until I've pretended to drive it around like a racing car. And I'm glad I did, because I have to be honest, the original Ridge Racer on this thing is actually my preferred way to play that game. It feels really good to steer twisting the controller, and it even steers by the exact amount of pressure you apply to each rotation. But let's get creative here. This thing is a Namco controller, so why don't we try out another Namco game on it, like Soul Blade? Well, this is why, because all that twisting the controller does is block, which actually makes you look like you're blocking yourself from Voldo's scary colander knob. And if you try the NeGcon with Pac-Man World, you'll find that you can actually customize the controls in the options to whatever buttons you'd like. Meaning that, oh yeah, I can shoot by twisting left and jump and butt bounce by twisting right. This makes the game an instant 10 out of 10. Every jump in every game should be mapped to a twisting controller. It looks like you've got problems and you're mapping your own buttons on Pac-Man World, so you probably do, but imagine how great real life would be if jumping worked like... Tony Hawk Ride on the Xbox 360. Tony Hawk rode off.
So this game, this bloody game here, this 7th generation console classic, just so happened to be developed by RoboModo, the same lovely chaps behind Tony Hawk's Pro Hate My Life 5. And immediately you must be asking yourself, why such a big books? Well, because this entire game is controlled by this infernal thing.
Oh yes, by using your body weight and these fancy sensors dotted all over the board, this game expects you to have some tiny amount of skating ability before going into it, or at least the experience of being able to stand and weight shift on a board. And I'll give credit where it's due. This thing is solidly constructed. It's not that flimsy. In fact, if you stuck trucks and wheels on it, you could feasibly skate on it, so well done. Which also means I can smash it over and over again against a wall and it will never break.
Wow, after 10 years of games, I can finally ride Tony Hawk! And in order for you to see what the hell it is I'm experiencing, I decided to install this special Jim Jam cam so that you can get the best view of every angle once Tony Hawk gets ridden. So right off the bat, this game begins in the dumbest way I've ever seen. Why go to the effort of making a super expensive experimental gaming peripheral and then put controller buttons on it, including a start button, only to then tell me that I need a controller to navigate the menus and hit the start button on that anyway? If we were gonna do that, why don't we just, oh, I don't know, play the game with the controller?
This skater just turned pro, and now look where we're at. This is a true Cinderella story. Just a few days ago, they were called up by P-Rod for a special mission in Southern California.
Oh, okay. Is that it? That's our story? That was terrible. What even was that? That explained nothing at all. Does Tony have scurvy?
What you have in your hands is one of the most advanced game controllers ever made.
Oh, you don't say.
Here's my skater, and his name is Bungalow because his hair looks a bit like a thatched roof. Now, if you're a little concerned about playing this because you've never touched a skateboard in your life, I really wouldn't worry. Firstly, because this thing doesn't slip. And secondly, because even if you have a little bit of experience, like me, you will not make this game work. I repeat, you will not make this game work.
I didn't even do that!
Oh sure, I can push the board, I can manual, and I can certainly ollie, but performing specific tricks is an utter nightmare. This board cannot read the more subtle motions it needs to activate certain tricks, and so on this tutorial here, the first 3 minutes of the game, no matter how many damn tries I gave it attempting this trick here, it never, ever worked. What am I doing wrong here? Am I not riding you hard enough, Tone? And this is just for the tutorial. Sometimes even things as basic as an ollie doesn't even register. For a game so focused on performing tricks and keeping balance at high speeds while jumping onto objects, the fact that this controller only lets you perform something as basic as a jump sometimes is enough of a reason why it's a piece of shit that should never have been released. If a new player has just as much chance and luck performing a trick as somebody who put hundreds of hours into it, the game probably blows. And taking that aside, the gameplay that you're treated with here can't be enjoyed, since you approach every single objective in exactly the same way. That being, you just trying to make a move happen. Forget combos, forget doing specific tricks over specific gaps or anything, you're just trying to do the basics from the start to the end. Mix that in with some pretty motion sickness inducing graphics and all the elements blend into a delicate mix of piss and vinegar.
You're joking.
I don't care about what fancy tech you have, I just want to spend my money on a game that works. And Tony Hawk Ride does not work. And even if you get it working, it's murder on your legs. Come on, this is a video game to play for fun, not boot camp for the Navy. You can sail the 7 seas. Look, I just got some of my highest scores and fanciest tricks just rocking the board in any direction I could. How is this fair? And check this out, I was able to get better and more consistent results by sitting down on the shitting thing. How is it that I can't do this?
But by sitting on my stupid ass, I'm able to do this. In fact, how could they even say this is the most realistic skating game of all time when Tony Hawk's own series already said that itself a few games ago in Project 8? So real, you don't just skate it, you feel it. The Namco Jogcon, the only product in the world with jog in the title that requires you sit down to use it. Get this, you've got a regular PS1 controller, right? But with a wheel stapled in between its legs, and the wheel doesn't ever centralize when you spin it, meaning that one single turn of it makes you... Oh! Yeah, it's basically a miniature record player Frankenstein on top of a controller, and it's even loud enough to sound like you're scratching records as well. As for the controller itself, it does feel great to hold if you enjoy having your knuckle skin scraped off. And when you play a racing game like Disney World Magical Racing Tour, even though you have a wheel right here to use as a wheel, you can't turn any of the carts, even though this is one of the only single instances where a wheel glued onto your controller would sound like a reasonable thing to do. It doesn't stop there either. If you try playing Spider-Man, the controller works perfectly fine as a standard controller whenever the wheel mode is turned off, but doesn't work whatsoever when the wheel mode is turned on. And I know what you're thinking. Well, little Jimmy Shitpants, just make sure you never turn on the wheel mode and the problem is solved. Except it isn't, because whenever you do turn wheel mode off, the game itself automatically turns it back on and stops itself from being able to be played. Have you ever seen a game actively spit out the controller you're trying to use with it, even though it does have a mode that works? Has Spider-Man on the PS1 learned to hate? Is it racist? And you know what other game discriminates against this controller? Barbie Explorer should be a match made in heaven, right? Namco Jogcon, Barbie Jogs. Yeah, that's it. But no, the controller does not work. She's clearly far too Aryan for this. Why do these games allow the controller to work and then override it immediately? I would love to use the Jogcon to unlock the secret of the Mystic Mirror with Barbeatum, but she just won't let me. What the hell else can we try then? Breakout? To move the paddle? Surely no. It works. I mean, don't get me wrong, the edges of the wheel are horribly jagged and this little round dip is just sharp enough around its edges to eventually blister your thumb, but amazingly, this controller works with the Atari 3D remake of Breakout with the story mode about a rectangle with a face that gets thrown in prison and puts up a swimsuit picture of his rectangle girlfriend because that makes his rectangle feel like a rectangle. And I know what's probably on your mind. Well, this is a Namco controller, so the wheel bit here is probably only compatible fully with Namco games. And if you were gonna say Ridge Racer Type 4, you'd be correct, yeah. And that's it! That's the only Namco game I could get working with it. In fact, out of my entire PS1 collection, do you want to know what I managed to get working with this wheel? Ridge Racer Type 4, Breakout, and V-Rally 2. That was it. So if you want a controller for the worst possible way to play these three games and nothing else, then I highly recommend it.
Hello, Caddy, it's Joe. How are you?
I can't believe it. Look, everybody, it's my stepbrother with one leg longer than the other, Jolene. What are you doing here, Joe?
I was playing iToy Anti-Grav, but couldn't stop turning left.
Oh, bless. What did you think would happen, idiot?
It's not my fault. I just got here, and I couldn't get out of the door frame, so I decided to try it. It's the first game I've ever played.
Well, I'm really sorry that the first video game you ever played was the only one that required you to stand upright to get working properly. But don't worry, I've got some more... Oh, he's down.
It's okay, I'm used to it.
Well done. Well, in that case, why don't we take a look at the next game, the second in the three...
Can you lift me up, please?
Why don't we take a look at the next game, the second in the three...
Help me, stepbro, I'm stuck.
The next game is the second of the three Japanese iToy exclusives, and it's called... Clamp. I don't know what it is or what it's about, but one thing is for certain, there is iToy. That's a good sign. I don't know, what does Google think? Next door requires iToy camera. So here we are, and according to some research, I figured out this is actually called Cardcaptor Sakura, featuring Sakura and Asbo. And usually I'm able to muddle my way through a foreign game to get to the actual game, or at least figure out the concrete base of what's going on, but I actually have no idea this time what is going on. I even managed to get into what I thought was the story mode, and after 4 minutes of waving to skip all of the voiceless dialogue I couldn't read, I got to a new menu, guessed what I was supposed to click on next, and then got slapped back to the main menu, meaning I had to start it all over again. My point is, if I've ever upset you in the past for not liking a thing that you like, here is your evidence why you should never listen to me. So here we go all over again. Another 4 minutes of skipping dialogue. Yes, finally, I waved on the right thing and now we're getting somewhere. Look, it's a man with an acorn head who's too big to fit in this young girl's room, so he sunk through the floor. And I guess he's now given us a load of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Is this the card capturing the game is named after? I don't care. Each of these cards hosts a mini-game, and that is all that I need to know. And the very first thing that I tried out was a maze game. Great. As it goes with maze games, they are mazes, which means they're very easy to get lost in. And not only do you get lost, but you have to get unlost by holding your arm extended from your body for 4.5 minutes straight while people walking by your house look through your window and start calling the local neighborhood watch. Then there's this game about smacking little pimples with ears, and this is where I discovered the best feature of Cardcaptor Sakura. It's the only iToy game out of all 28 that doesn't let you pause or quit, either from covering the lens completely or from a PS2 controller manual override. Once you start a game, you are married to whatever rollerblading gout you've got until you either run out of time or win the game, including this pinball game that just drones on forever until you lose all of your balls, this slot machine game that's just hitting one button and luck for 1.5 minutes, and especially this card matching game, which in all fairness is alright because you gotta try and match everything up while the cards get mixed up after every turn. But this game lasted me 7 minutes, 7 whole minutes of standing there and waving like a grandma saying goodbye to her grandkids for the last time. Eventually I got fed up and just decided to sit it out and do nothing, waiting for the final season of Breaking Bad to come out. Bad broke, and then the timer eventually did run out, and yet somehow I still won 3-0 after 4 minutes and 50 seconds of not doing anything. Does anybody have a little girl I can strangle? Oh, don't worry, I found one. All in all, Cardcaptor Sakura on the PS2 iToy is the best game for you if you want to see your finger poke the head of your underage waifu.
Chances are, if you were a kid in the 90s and owned a PS1, you really wanted to shoot someone with a gun, and luckily, when Namco weren't making controllers compatible with as many games as hair on a teenage lip, they were the frontrunners of the PS1 gun accessory with their classic Gcon 45, featuring a big ol' bee sting. Personally, I have 2 PS1 Gcon gun game bundle packs, the original Time Crisis one and the original Point Blank one, and both of these games are the true definition of classic. These are a special kind of cardboard box, you know, the really old ones stored in someone's loft for decades, so they have that distinctive musk that makes you... Motion controls and gyro controls are alright for gun games nowadays, but nothing quite matches the same raw satisfaction as aiming an actual gun at your TV, looking down the sights and then letting them have your barrel.
The biggest disappointment with this technology nowadays, though, is that it doesn't work on any modern day TVs. 4K, HD, it doesn't matter. If it's LCD and has a flat screen, this isn't gonna work. If you want to get this working, you need to get yourself an old, boxy CRT TV. So I decided to get myself one, and now I feel like a kid again. Point Blank, Time Crisis, Lethal Enforcers, Die Hard Trilogy, it's all just as great as I remembered. This phaser gun in particular is from a company I'm sure you've all heard of before, Mad Catz. But the advantage of it not being made for PlayStation is that it's Saturn compatible too, and that's pretty neat. But none of this matters, because at the end of the day, none of the guns work on modern flat screen TVs. Hey, you know what I want to know? If playing is so great, then where's Play 2? Here it is. Now I know what you're thinking. Cads, matey boy, isn't iToy Play 2 just 2 iToy Play 1s? Pfft, no. Moron. It's 2 iToy Play 2s. I guess the original pack-in tech demo was popular enough where it earned itself a sequel, and in fairness, this was the iToy game that 10-year-old Caddy put the most hours into, so let's see if there's anything to be saved from a man that really, really, really wants that baseball.
I'm here to help you find your way around the game.
I'm here to tell you to shut up.
Make sure that you can fit inside the player outline.
Yeah, like you fit in your own coffin.
iToy Play 2 is the same as the first game, but with 10 times the production values, way more minigames, way more multiplayer games, even though I'll die alone, and just a slightly higher degree of polish all across the board. Which also means alongside the minigames, we also have more of these lab experiments that you don't necessarily play, but goddamn, you just have to look at them all anyway.
It's the Cadstellation. Featuring the ceiling, the endless reaches of space. Population 1. Size pretty massive. This is the Jim Nebula, and one of the stones is here. Mound. In the planet Mound, everybody bleeds. But the good thing is, the bleeding is fun. So everyone does it to themselves. And that's why there's no one living here anymore. Another planet you can visit is this one. It's called Marble. In the planet Marble, everyone that's here has a really long-fronted cap on their head. Be careful though. Whenever you move, you bring the icy cold reminder of ice. Then, of course, no one can forget the planet Boil. On the planet Boil, not only does it look like a boil, but you also boil. And then when you are done with your tour around the Jim Nebula, you get a souvenir in the form of one of those Jewish hats. So now you have a keepsake for all time. Thank you for visiting the Jim Nebula. Bye. Brightly coloured fruit. Okay, so to save ourselves from getting a healthier diet and looking after ourselves, I've decided to do the next best thing and just find whatever we had in the fridge for this video game. So I managed to find a yellow pepper, a tiny carton of apple juice. Where are they gone?
I don't know.
Well, this is great. I have an empty carton of apple juice and a woman on a pepper. Wow, everybody. I'm invisible. Why does the mirror in the background have skin now? So how do I go high? Oh, so I have to talk to it. Oh, we actually get to play pool. I've just started and I lost. Yeah. What happens if I dab it?
Oh, you get one in.
Yeah, boy. And now we have finished. We have finished our masterpiece. Can anyone see what I was going for? Yes, that's right. It's a self-portrait. So enough of that, let's try the real game. It works. It works.
Look, I know I'm saying this a lot, trust me, I know, but when your most recent experience of this kind of technology is the penguins of Madagascar, you find yourself saying that a lot when it does end up working. I'm more floored by just how accurately it reads your body movements, even to the top of your fingertips, which is so pixelated and indistinguishable on the camera that they might as well be a wet towel, but goddamn, look at this little bugger. It's good, it works, and all it took to get here was a little bit of ethnic stereotyping.
Oh boy. How's he gonna sound? Let's find out.
Saying that though, I don't remember the last time I heard a Northern English accent this thick in a video game before. It's great.
Now try to save at least 3 out of 5 shots.
I'm not sure though. That guy looks a little sauce to me. Yeah, sauce. No, not sus, sauce. It's sausagey.
Get in goal and help your team win the match.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not arguing that this is high art or super stimulating, but it is very fun, can't lie. And it's all worth it when in the baseball game, after multiple attempts of playing properly and not being able to hit a single home run, you give up and do this. Or when you get a knockout in the boxing game and your action replay catches the very moment when you're in too deep and you think you're actually protecting your family from a man in the house. There's an updated version of Kung Fu, a robot monkey puzzle game that's really fun, and then there's deeper mini-games that have micro-games within the main mini-game, like the cooking one where you have to match up every order on the ticket correctly, but then if you run out of batches or make too many mistakes, you then have to go to micro-games to create the missing ingredients as fast as possible before the day ends. All under the umbrella of a game called Mr. Chef. There's even a really fun secret agent game where you need to stay as still as possible when the searchlights are on you while solving puzzles under a time limit. Look at me go. I'm not the Burger King, I'm the Burglar King. iToy Play 2 is a good ride, would do it again. Even that slightly jank building game where you can't hammer nails in straight and you've got to smash a wall in.
Why don't I take a look at two of the launch titles that came bundled with the Kinect instead? Kinect Sports and Kinect Adventures.
First off, Kinect Adventures, which believe it or not actually has a story mode. You basically need to do a massive series of full body motion quests like river rafting, obstacle courses, ball bouncing and bubble popping in order to discover and collect these things called living statues, which you can then make bend over. You know what's funny though? This actually works. And not only does it works really well. This is the first Kinect thing I have played where I can safely say that if you move your body, it then does a thing. Move your arm, the game moves your arm. Move your leg, the game moves your leg. Move your head, the game moves your head. Move your junk, oh no. Honestly, I'm speechless. And that's really dumb because I shouldn't be considering how simple this is. All you're doing is ducking, sidestepping, jumping, using your arms and feet individually. But because Kinect has such an awful track record with games not working for the bloody thing, whenever you get a game that actually reads what your body is doing relatively well, it feels like the second coming of Christ.
And the first coming was already pretty good.
Look at that, it even knows when I decide to itch my nose. Or, wait, do I have a nose? Ultimately, it's still as simplistic and family-friendly as a pair of shoes, but it's functional. And if some of the photos the game took were of me looking like this, and this, then I can't say it wasn't at least a little bit fun. That is except for one thing, the noise that happens when you hit yourself. I find that very offensive because my mother died in a car crash last year and the noise it made was no laughing matter.
Get yourself a Sinden light gun.
Oh yeah, this here is a USB camera-based gun controller that you can use on most PC console emulators that have light gun shooters, and it works scarily well for whenever you want to point your blanks on a big telly.
Hey everybody, it's Caddy. I just wanted to stop this video briefly for a sec because it'll be public information soon anyway, so I figured I might as well burst the bubble myself before you hear it from secondhand from someone else, but I didn't have enough time to set up the Sinden light gun and record footage of me using it on an emulator. I can't apologize enough.
And then, without any smooth transition whatsoever, here is the greatest box art of all time. I'm serious, this is possibly the best box art I've ever seen in my life. Look at it. Hermione is looking off slightly to the left, Ron is about to kamikaze the side of Hogwarts Castle, and what is Harry doing with his face? Now, this may just be the greatest video game ever created. Wanna know why? Because you start it up, you see all of the splash logos of the companies involved in making it, and then the very first thing you see is Neville Longbottom. Are you ready? So in Harry Potter for the Kinect, you get the honour of playing through a few major events of all of the movies in one big story mode.
Harry Potter was living with his awful Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon when, on his 11th birthday,
his Uncle Vernon sat on him. So we've got our Hogwarts letter ready to go, and we can choose to have it in movie mode, which is addressed to Harry, or custom mode, which is... which is addressed to Caddicarus TV, and I'm picking that one based on how great it would be if Hogwarts selected students with their gamer tags.
Welcome to Hogwarts, Muff Muncher _69.
And because we've chosen custom mode, this also means we get to customize our wizard by taking a photo of ourselves and using that as our avatar. And I ended up with this. Welcome to Hogwarts, where if we don't like your face, we rip it off and stick this one on it. And now we have to get our wand, preferably without breaking anything. Now we need to be sorted into our schoolhouse, and apparently we can shout at the Kinect in order to influence its decision.
Slytherin! Slytherin! Slytherin!
Hufflepuff! Well, now I'm only left with one question. Did my parents send me off to Hogwarts because I'm magical, or because they didn't want to look at my face anymore? Let's get on with the school year then. I can't wait to see what adventures we get up to. Potions class. Perfect.
You will attempt to brew a
cure for boils.
What, you mean like the one on your face? I mean, okay, it's pretty straightforward. You just move your arms in the way the game tells you to, but it seems to be working okay. Oh, what's this? 5-star rating? I'm impressed, Kinect. I'm impressed. I know I don't look it, but trust me, I am.
But now we're on to the true test. Can we cast
Wingardium Leviosa. Now, you try.
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa!
Try again.
Is this microphone broken or am I not giving it enough Leviosa? Well, if you can't hear me, what am I supposed to do? I don't know if you guys remember, but in the Harry Potter movies, they cast spells, so how am I supposed to keep playing?
You can also use movement to select a spell. To select Wingardium Leviosa, put your arms in this position.
You're joking.
Excellent.
You hand yourself into the FBI to select a spell! I don't remember that from the movie!
Okay, so that was a disaster, but at least the motion control still worked pretty well. Hey guys, guess what I'm doing in this picture? I'm casting a spell in Harry Potter. Anyway, we now have our first boss battle against the troll in the bathroom, but there's just one problem. I don't know which one is the troll.
The toilets have big enough gaps for me to come and see you.
Ah, no! Watch out, 11-year-old boy with beard. The troll is coming to get you. There's only one thing you can do to get away. Bend your kneecaps in the wrong direction.
When Professor McGonagall sees Harry catch something in midair while on his broomstick,
she gets moist. Hey, everybody! Look, here I am, the youngest Quidditch player in a century, with a face that's a different colour to the rest of his skin. To be fair to Kinect, once again, though, this does work surprisingly well. It's not complicated or anything, but it's certainly functional. Steer left and right by leaning, reach out your hand to grab the snitch when you're close enough, and, okay, would you look at that, we've skipped a lot of this story because we're already at the end of the first movie. Off we go to fight Voldemort, I guess, but before that, we need to get past a locked door with a million flying keys surrounding it.
We're looking for a big old-fashioned one. Probably rusty like the handle.
Ron, you're 11. Why do you sound 36? This minigame here, it is a dumble snore. You just float around as still as a statue while using your body to stop keys from flying by you. And why does the end of your broom look like you sat on Tina Turner? No time to answer those questions though, because here we are, face to face with Voldemort's face and his other face. And even though he is a literal face grafted onto the back of someone else's head, I somehow look worse than him. By the way, do you want to see the greatest introduction to a main villain in video game history?
We meet again. See what I must do to survive.
Flawless. And so is this boss battle. Do you know what you have to do? Hold your hands out in front of his face for long enough, and then he just gives up.
Not again! Not like this! No!
Not even joking, that's how it ends. And if the first movie is going to end so half-heartedly, then I will too. And if that still isn't enough for you, you can always pick up this. This is a handgun. There's no two ways about it. This is a Glock. This is a bloody gun. It looks exactly like a goddamn handgun. It's a gun! They couldn't make this thing look any more like a gun if they tried. We're going straight up Coolio's greatest hits over here. No orange tip, no weird shape. I actually had this idea to go to the city and point this at random people for a joke and then show them, haha, look, it's a toy gun. But the more I look at it, the more it looks like I actually want to kill them, and I don't think the balaclava was a good idea either. I mean, did you want to look even more badass when playing Resident Evil Survivor? Because with this thing now, you can. It even has vibration feedback so that you can, and I quote, feel every shot. PlayStation, teaching children police brutality is okay since 1995.
I'm sorry, everybody. I was just busy listening to Jamiroquai Toy Groove.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell not? You've got some new motion camera tech for a game console. Of course a dance party was around the corner. And here it is. iToy-Grboobsva, the first game for the PS2 that allows you to control it with your ass. Get on up to get on down. What? Kick-In playlist featuring Madonna, Village People, Fatboy Slim, Last Ketchup. Hey everyone, do you know who I think of immediately after listening to Elvis?
We are the Cheeky Girls.
The best part of the back for me, though, is that the first bonus feature listed is a calorie counter. Hi, customer, thanks for buying our game, and as a special bonus, we'll tell you how fat you are. Right, here we go. iToy Groove. It's the Freaky Beats game from iToy Play, but like My Little Pony on DeviantArt, expanded. There's plenty of licensed songs to dance to, and the game recognizes everything you do to a T. I'm actually kind of stunned, to be honest. This dinky little thing has no right to work this well. I mean, what else is there to say? It's a rhythm game, and it works. This is basically as simple to get into, yet difficult to master as DDR, but with your hands. I like this game. Go and get it, and then invite your friends over to play it, as long as they can fit.